evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, and he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as a detective. I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself.
What would drive a man at the center of one of the most shocking cases in recent memory to show up at his ex-girlfriend's funeral? Just days after investigators linked D4vd's Tesla to Celeste's tragic death, brand new footage has surfaced. Footage showing the 20-year-old artist standing among mourners at her service. Some say he was there to mock the family. Others believe it was a silent surrender, a way of saying the story isn't as simple as it looks. But one thing's clear, this funeral video changes everything we thought we knew about the case. Let's break it down. The clip is short, grainy, and filmed from a distance, but there's no mistaking who it shows: D4vd, real name David Anthony Burke, dressed in dark clothing, quietly standing among the mourners at Celeste Rivas Hernandez's funeral. The video spread across TikTok and X within hours, racking up millions of views, as shocked viewers asked the same question: how was he even there? By the time this service took place in April 2024, the case had already exploded into headlines worldwide. Celeste's remains had been discovered inside D4vd's Tesla Model Y, and the investigation was well underway. Most people assumed he was in hiding, or at least keeping a low profile under the weight of suspicion. And yet, there he was, appearing in public at the very funeral of the girl whose death had tied his name to one of the darkest scandals in recent music history. Some interpreted the appearance as a bold show of defiance, almost as if he was daring investigators and the public to confront him directly. Others saw it as a twisted move, possibly meant to intimidate Celeste's grieving family. And a smaller group wondered if this was something else entirely, an act of guilt or even an attempt to turn himself in without words. Whatever his intention, the funeral video transformed the case once again, raising new questions about David's state of mind, his motives, and the true timeline of events leading up to Celeste's tragic death. To understand why the funeral footage hit so hard, we need to go back to where this case truly shifted. LAPD officers responded to reports of a foul odor coming from a vehicle parked at a tow yard in Hollywood. The car in question? A 2023 Tesla Model Y registered to David Anthony Burke, better known to the world as D4vd. When investigators opened the trunk, they uncovered a scene that shocked even veteran detectives. Inside, wrapped in bags, were the decomposed remains of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who had been reported missing just 1 week earlier on April 5th. At that moment, this wasn't just another missing persons case, it was officially classified as a homicide. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community. Fans who had once celebrated D4vd's rise from a Houston bedroom studio to international stardom now found themselves asking if his lyrics had been hiding confessions in plain sight. For Celeste's family, the nightmare became real. Their missing daughter was gone, and the man many believed responsible was still walking free. The Tesla discovery set the stage for everything that came after. The viral theories, the leaked digital evidence, and eventually the shocking funeral footage. Because once the public knew where Celeste was found, every move D4vd made became part of a bigger, darker story. Long before headlines tied him to Celeste's tragic death, David Anthony Burke was just another teenager in Houston chasing a dream. Known online as D4vd, his journey didn't start in a fancy studio or with industry connections. It started in his sister's closet, using nothing more than an iPhone, a pair of Apple earbuds, and a free app called BandLab. At first, he wasn't even trying to become an artist. He just needed background music for his Fortnite highlight reels. But what began as a side hobby quickly snowballed into something much bigger. By 2022, his single Romantic Homicide went viral on TikTok, racking up millions of streams and catapulting him into the spotlight almost overnight. Suddenly, the kid from Houston was signing with Interscope Records, collaborating with Fortnite, and even opening for SZA on tour. He was living the kind of story fans love to romanticize, from obscurity to fame, from bedroom producer to international star. But looking back now, the fairy tale rise feels very different. The dark themes in his music, lyrics about heartbreak, death, and obsession, once dismissed as teenage angst, began to look like red flags hiding in plain sight. To fans, it's almost surreal. How could the same kid who built his career out of innocence and hustle end up at the center of one of the most disturbing stories the music industry has seen in years? When Romantic Homicide first dropped in July 2022, it was hailed as a raw, emotional track about heartbreak. Millions of fans connected with its haunting lines, using it in TikToks about lost love and teenage pain. It became the anthem that launched D4d into stardom. But after April 2024, those same lyrics started sounding disturbingly different. The song's most infamous line, "In the back of my mind you died," once felt like metaphor. But in the wake of Celeste's death, many began to wonder if it was something far more literal. Critics and fans alike started revisiting the track, combing through every word for hidden meanings, for signs that D4d might have been confessing through his music all along. And it wasn't just Romantic Homicide. Other unreleased tracks, including one reportedly titled Celeste, surfaced online, filled with obsessive lyrics that blurred the line between art and reality. Suddenly, the music that made him famous wasn't just entertainment. It was evidence in the court of public opinion. This shift in perspective turned his own art against him. What fans once celebrated as honesty and vulnerability now looked like a breadcrumb trail leading to a horrifying truth. It left people questioning, had the clues been right in front of us the whole time? The real turning point in this case came when investigators confirmed the identity of the person found inside D4vd's Tesla. It was 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a girl from Lake Elsinore who had been reported missing on April 5th, 2024. At the time, she was just 13 years old. Her family had been searching tirelessly, putting up flyers, speaking to reporters, and holding community vigils. For over a year, they held out hope she might return home safely. But the discovery in September 2025 brought those hopes to a heartbreaking end. And what shocked investigators even more was how quickly Celeste's story appeared to connect back to D4vd himself. Celeste's mother told police that before her disappearance, her daughter had mentioned being close with someone named David. At first, it sounded like coincidence. But when officers realized the Tesla was registered to David Anthony Burke, the connection could no longer be ignored. Photos later surfaced online showing the two in matching outfits, while leaked screenshots suggested private conversations stretching back years. The details didn't just point to a casual encounter. They suggested a deeper link that raised difficult questions about how long it had existed. From the tattoos to the leaked messages, each new piece of information made the connection between Celeste and D4d look less like rumor and more like a complicated reality. What once looked like the tragic fallout of fame now appeared far more serious, a connection that ended in devastating consequences. Then came the footage that shocked the internet. Just when people thought they had seen every possible twist in this case, new video emerged showing D4d himself at Celeste's funeral. The clip, reportedly filmed on September 21st, 2025, spread across TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram within hours, and the reactions were explosive. In the shaky, phone recorded video, D4vd can be seen standing near the back of the crowd, dressed in dark clothing, a hood partially pulled over his face. Some mourners didn't even notice him at first. But when the video went public, the internet lit up with questions. How could someone under so much suspicion walk freely into such a private, emotional space? To some viewers, the scene looked like mockery, as if he had shown up not to pay respects, but to flaunt the fact that he hadn't been arrested. Others argued it was a silent message, a wordless defense, that by standing there he was claiming innocence, showing he had nothing to hide. Whatever his intentions, the reaction was immediate. Hashtags like hashtag D4vd funeral footage and hashtag Justice for Celeste started trending worldwide. The clip was dissected frame by frame. Some claimed they could see him smirking. Others said he looked broken, on the verge of tears. Analysts debated whether security had been aware of his presence or if he had slipped in quietly to avoid confrontation. But no matter how you interpret it, the footage added a haunting new layer to a story already overflowing with mystery and controversy. What was supposed to be a solemn moment of mourning became a viral spectacle, and once again, D4D was at the very center of it. The viral funeral footage didn't just stir emotions online, it sent shockwaves through the entire music industry. Within 24 hours of the clip surfacing, D4vd's name once again dominated headlines, not for his music, but for controversy. And this time, the fallout was immediate. Interscope Records, which had already slowed promotion after the Tesla discovery, reportedly pulled the plug on his upcoming deluxe album campaign. Tour promoters canceled remaining dates across the US and Europe, with venues citing safety concerns and fan outrage. What had been a sold-out tour schedule was now wiped clean in a matter of days. Brands that had once proudly partnered with him, from Crocs to Hollister, officially suspended deals, removing his image from marketing campaigns. Even playlists that had once boosted his career, like Spotify's flagship Today's Top Hits, quietly removed his tracks overnight. The message was clear. The industry was distancing itself fast, but the funeral footage complicated the picture. While some executives saw it as proof of arrogance, others worried that the public had rushed to judgment. Behind closed doors, debates sparked over whether the industry was abandoning him too quickly or if the mounting backlash made it impossible to stand by him. Meanwhile, fellow artists were caught in the crossfire. Some unfollowed him, some deleted collaborations, and others stayed silent, unwilling to risk their own reputations. The silence spoke volumes. For years, D4vd had been hailed as a fresh voice for Gen Z music. Now his very presence was treated like poison. The video of him standing at Celeste's funeral wasn't just another viral moment. It was the final straw for an industry that had once embraced him and now seemed determined to erase him. As the funeral clip continued to spread, the internet split straight down the middle. On one side were those who saw D4vd's presence as an insult, a brazen act of disrespect to Celeste's grieving family. How could he show up? One viral comment read, "When the world believes he's the reason she's even in that casket." For many, just seeing him in that setting was proof of guilt, a chilling reminder of the accusations surrounding his name. But others weren't so sure. Supporters argued that if he really had something to hide, he wouldn't dare show his face in such a public place. To them, his quiet attendance was a statement, a way of saying he wasn't running, he wasn't hiding, and that the story people were telling about him wasn't the full truth. Hashtags like hashtag #FreeDavid began trending again, pushed by fans who clung to the idea that the lack of an arrest meant investigators didn't have enough evidence. TikTok edits only fueled the divide. Some creators slowed the footage, adding ominous music to make him look sinister. Others overlaid his older songs, framing him as a broken young artist caught in the middle of tragedy. On Twitter, debates raged. Was this a man paying respects or a man taunting the world? Even mainstream outlets picked up the divide, with opinion pieces questioning whether the clip showed guilt, innocence, or just the strange reality of living in the public eye during a criminal investigation. The truth was, no one knew for sure, but what the video did accomplish was undeniable. It reignited the storm around D4vd, dragging both his fans and his critics into another round of heated battles online. The funeral footage wasn't just a glimpse of a moment, it was a spark, one that reignited the firestorm surrounding his name and left the world more divided than ever. While the internet debated the meaning of the funeral footage, investigators quietly pressed forward. For them, the video didn't change the core facts of the case. Celeste's remains had been found inside a Tesla registered to D4vd, and the timeline of her disappearance still pointed back to him. But proving guilt in court required more than speculation, and detectives knew the world was watching. Sources close to the LAPD confirmed that evidence from the September 18th raid on his Hollywood Hills residence was still being processed. Hard drives, laptops, and cell phones were undergoing forensic analysis, with digital experts combing through deleted files, messages, and location data. At the same time, the Tesla itself remained in police custody. Investigators were focused on its GPS history, trying to piece together every stop and every mile it traveled before the grisly discovery on September 8, 2025. The autopsy on Celeste added even more pressure. Forensic specialists were working to determine her exact cause and time of death, though decomposition made the process slow and difficult. Every result mattered because it could narrow down when she died, and whether D4D's tour schedule provided him with an alibi or made things even more suspicious. Meanwhile, officials remained tight-lipped. At press conferences, the same phrase kept being repeated: "No arrests have been made at this time." That silence only fueled speculation online, with some insisting it meant the case against him was weak, while others believed it was proof that authorities were building something far bigger behind the scenes. The funeral footage may have gone viral, but behind closed doors, detectives were still piecing together the puzzle. And until they revealed what they found, the case remained suspended in a cloud of mystery, one that only grew darker with every passing day. The footage of D4D at Celeste's funeral didn't answer any questions. If anything, it raised even more. Was he there out of guilt, grief, or defiance? Was it a final goodbye or a statement that the world has rushed to judge him too quickly? No matter how you interpret it, one truth is clear. This single clip has changed the way people see the case, forever. For Celeste's family, the video was another painful reminder of what they've lost. For the music industry, it was the last straw that forced them to cut ties. And for fans, it was either proof of innocence or evidence of arrogance. The divide has never been wider, and the stakes have never been higher. The investigation continues, and until law enforcement reveals the results of their findings, the world is left in suspense. But whether guilty or innocent, the image of D4vd standing at that funeral will remain burned into the public's memory, a haunting moment in a story already filled with tragedy. What do you think? Was this a sign of respect or a calculated move? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated as this case unfolds, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the next development could change everything we know once again